All right, this is the Town of Lake Park, Florida regular commission meeting for Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. The time is now 6:33 p.m. Can we have the clerk please take the roll call?
Commissioner
Here.
Taylor, Commissioner Thomas,
Present.
Commissioner Hensley,
Here.
Vice Mayor Glass Castro,
Here.
Mayor Mashad.
Here, can we all please rise for the pledge? And I will have Captain Raleigh lead us off. And I have to apologize, that is Chief Raleigh. No. I need to have your name right, sir. It is Chief Raleigh. Okay. All righty. With that, we have a special presentation. We have two special presentations. I guess we have one that we're still waiting on, correct? Yes. Okay, so we're going to do a little reorganizing. I know, Chief Raleigh, you had a couple of words you wanted to say, and you gave us a pink card. But if it's okay with the commission, I'd like to have him speak. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Chief Raleigh, please come up. Oh, and I got two more pink cards. So, okay.
Oh, good evening. My name is William Rowley. I'm the District Chief for Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, one of our stations here in Lake Park. I just wanted to provide some information on a staffing enhancement we're doing at Station 68. Over the past month, we've put 2 extra command units, basically the fire SUV as people refer to them, that are over there. They're not staffed every day, but basically the way our system works is all the ranks, we have extras. You know, when people are on vacation, they're on Kelly Day, somebody calls in sick, we have people to plug into those spots. What we've done is over here, we've made one of those trucks a battalion chief unit. The other one's an EMS captain unit. So any time in the county that an EMS captain or a battalion chief don't have a spot to fill in, they get brought up here and they staff and put those units in service. So last week we had a battalion chief one day staffed up there. The following day we had a battalion chief and an EMS captain staffed up there. I want to say Tuesday we had a battalion chief staffed in there. So anytime there's an extra in those positions, they come over and they'll fill those seats and put the trucks in service. So, any questions on that? Anything I can explain further?
Any questions?
No, it sounds like an advantage. Yep.
Oh, it definitely
Yeah.
is.
Thank you.
Definitely, because right now our command staff, they come out of Station 19, which isn't bad for that position. It's not tragic that they're not down here when the call first drops, but it's obviously beneficial to have the resources closer when we can.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
What's been our average response time?
The last report we got, it was in the 6-minute time. The next meeting, because we're gonna have the monthly report. It comes out about the beginning of the second week of the month. So the last meeting of the month, my plan is to start presenting that run report, and that'll give you the average response times, and then we can reference back to the previous month each time.
Oh, okay.
Excellent.
Any questions on this side? Town Manager? Absolutely.
I just wanted to say thank you, Chief, also to Captain Genro. Since I've been here, they've both been participating in our staff meetings. And so we feel like, it's a great opportunity to work together, and you guys have been a great partner in those meetings and making sure that we're all on the same page. And I want to say thank you to you both. So
Thank you. It is a good opportunity for your senior staff to interact with us and really bring things to us. So that's great. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions over here? Nope. Okay. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Chief. All righty. Since we are still waiting for the presentation on the Homeless Intervention Unit, we will go ahead and start off with the proclamation in honor of our Palm Beach County Sheriff Office District 10 Commander, Captain Thomas Gendro. Would you like to please come up? Thank you. It's a team effort, right? All righty, sir. You stand right there. How's that? All righty. This is a proclamation for you, sir. All right. This proclamation in honor of Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office Captain Thomas Gendro. Whereas Captain Thomas Gendro is a law enforcement officer with 33 years of experience, having commenced his law enforcement career for the town of Lake Park as a reserve officer in 1992, and where he also served as a patrol sergeant until 2001. And whereas Captain Thomas Gendro has served in many areas of law enforcement, including his service as a detective in the Village of Wellington, as well as his service since 2001 with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office in narcotics, criminal investigations, and as a sergeant in internal affairs. Whereas Thomas Gendro, Captain Thomas Gendro, was promoted to lieutenant and assigned as the District 10 commander for the town of Lake Park in 2016, and was subsequently promoted to the position of captain in 2019. And whereas Thomas Gendro is a graduate of the University of Louisville's Southern Police Institute Command Officers Development Course and earned his bachelor degree in public administration from Barry University and his master's degree in criminal justice from California Coast University. And whereas throughout his years of service for the town of Lake Park, Captain Thomas Gendro has sought to improve the quality of life for the town's citizens and has demonstrated his commitment to the needs of his community. And whereas Captain Thomas Gendro is being transferred to the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office District 1 effective February 12, 2025. Wow, that's on my son's birthday, too. And whereas the town of Lake Park, Florida wishes to publicly recognize Captain Thomas Gendro for his service to this community and honor him for his achievements. Now, therefore, on behalf of the Commission of the town of Lake Park, I, Roger Machad, Mayor of the town of Lake Park, do hereby publicly congratulate Captain Thomas Gendro and commend him for his dedication and the service he has rendered to his community. In witness thereof, I have hereto set my hand and caused the official seal of the town of Lake Park to be affixed on this 5th day of February 2025. Congratulations. Oh, don't hide. Mrs. Gendro, come on down. Do not hide. I see you all the time on social media anyway. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I was just, okay. I came to introduce your new leader.
Just to get you early, take the blanket off. Okay, well, I was going to let you say a few choice words, and then you can do your...
Thank you. I'll keep it short and sweet. I just want to thank everybody. It's been a great run. It really has. So, you know, Lake Park has always been near and dear to my heart. It's where I started. So I was glad to come back, and, you know, you're leaving you in good hands, that's for sure. So thank you, everybody.
Absolutely. Now, I didn't know if the council wanted to say a few choice words, but I'll open this for a moment. Anybody would like to say anything or no? Okay. Well, then,
Congratulations.
we will keep it moving.
Hi,
Major
good evening.
Latino.
Well, first, congratulations, Tom, longtime friend, made my job so easy. Rarely did I have to come see you guys for everything. He pretty much handled everything. So, but I also like to, in addition to congratulating Tommy for moving on to a little bit bigger district, choice assignment, most everybody that's ever commanded District 1, which is the largest patrol district in Palm Beach County, has been promoted. So this is a good opportunity for Captain Gendrow. But at the same time, I'd like to introduce his replacement, a 30-year friend of mine. I wouldn't pick somebody that I didn't think could replace Tom, even though he has big shoes to fill. Steve Thibodeau. He's coming out of our Community Resource Division. I'm not going to talk too much and steal his thunder because he's got some pretty good stories as it relates to Lake Park. But I wanted to introduce you to him, let you know that he's super competent other than being a friend of mine. He's been under my watch, this is about your third term, right? He's like an Alabama tick. I can't get rid of him. He keeps coming back. But no, he's, like I said, a good friend. He's a great captain, and Captain Steve Thibodeau.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. Tommy's a great guy, but I think the transition is going to be rather smooth. Think about the similarities we have. We have Gendrow. You're going to Thibodeau. I mean, right there alone. You know, I have this is my 31st year with the Sheriff's Office, the last 17 in Community Resources, so I've done a lot with, working with the public and serving, so looking forward to that. I like the opportunity that we have a new town manager that we can work together on his vision and make it happen. So the Sheriff's Office, 31 years, but my career in law enforcement is about 35. But funny enough, another similarity Tommy and I share is that I, too, was a reserve officer in Lake Park. I started my career as a reserve officer here. The then Chief Lenskug, if you remember that name, interviewed me and brought me on as a reserve and then offered me the opportunity to go to police academy. Back in the day, they didn't pay for the academy, but you had to wear their uniform. You needed a sponsor. So my graduation picture, I have the town of Lake Park patch on my uniform. So it's a full circle moment, particularly when, as a young, more ambitious guy, right, on the cocky side maybe, in the day, the chief asked me, where do you see yourself in the future? And I said, well, sir, eventually in your seat running this town. And here we go. So thank you. I look forward to working with you.
Well, welcome, Captain Thibodeau. And the only rule we have is we're trying to eliminate any New England Patriot fans around here. And, are you a New England Patriot fan? Okay, well, then we're okay. Okay, so how many minutes do we have before that? Okay. All right, well, while he's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead. We have 2 public comment cards from Mr. John Linden. Mr. Linden, would you like to come up?
Both cards are from?
Both cards are for Mr. Linden. Of course, as you know, it's 3 minutes, but we will work it out to get both in
one
there.
is agenda, one's non-agenda.
Is agenda? Okay. Okay, one is for number 7?
Yes.
Okay. You may begin.
Okay, thank you very much. Hey, I wanted to stop down tonight and thank those that came over to the Evergreen House during the Sunset Celebration. Turned out to be a great time. We had about 20, 25 people come through the Evergreen House that most of them had never been there before, and thanked us for opening it up, and we're kind of impressed. It was kind of nice. And one of them did say, well, we didn't even know this existed. It wasn't here. So my thought is, and we had talked about this a while back, to try to get the Evergreen House, because we are open for each Sunset Celebration, maybe to get in part of our advertising to let them know that we're there and they can get free tours and talk to either L.J. Parker and or Rick Goodall. So that's pretty much it, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Hey, this month, Michael McKetchard's going to be there as our guest speaker. He's the president of the board of directors for Lake Worth Theater, and he has ties to Lake Park. Lake Worth Theater has ties to Lake Park, and he's also on the Lake Park Historical Society. So be kind of interesting. It's a little different for us to see what he brings to the table. So if you're not doing nothing, fourth Monday of the month at 6:30, we're there with food and refreshments and a good time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so next we have the consent agenda. Vice Mayor?
I would move that we move up items 11 and 12 to consent agenda.
Okay, we have a request to move items 11 and 12 into consent.
Second.
Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, now, question. We have a pink card for item number 7. So we will be pulling item number 7 out, or we will,
You just,
or we will have the pink card just read before we make a motion for, okay.
You can do it that way, yeah, sure.
Okay. They have a pink card for item number 7, so I'm going to allow him to speak on it before we make a motion. Okay? Mr. Linden.
Well, thank you very much. Item number 7 is about grant and people applying for the grant. And a while back, some of you were on the commission at that time, the person applying for the grant had to come to a pre-meeting for about a half hour and understand a little bit about the grants. At that time, we had that pulled away, and we talked about a one-on-one meeting with the applicant. The issues that we faced then are the same issues we're facing now. That meeting was held once, and it was during the day, Tuesday, 2 o'clock, whatever it may have been, and not everybody that wanted a grant was able to make that meeting. So it was suggested to have one-on-one meetings with either Merle or Reuniti, well, Merle at that time. And I would like you to consider that when you look at that, because we respond to our residents, and they're the ones that pushed it last time and gave me a lot of calls that the mandatory meeting, while it was good, don't get me wrong, there was only one. So I'm suggesting that you maybe consider still eliminating that or having it a one-on-one with the designated person in charge. As I read through that whole number 7, I couldn't quite comprehend everything and how it was structured, including there was no date, but so that's what I'd like to suggest, put it back to where we make it comfortable and easy for the residents to get those grants that they want. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we've already moved items 11 and 12 on consent. We've had our public comment on one of the agenda items within consent, so if there aren't any questions, I will entertain a motion.
that's just to approve the.
To approve consent, yes, to just approve a consent as it stands.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, consent passes. Okay, we're going to go back to special presentation because I believe our speaker is here. It's a presentation by the Palm Beach County Sheriff Office Homeless Intervention Unit.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm honored. Hi there. I'm Deputy Mackey, Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. We're the homeless intervention team. We came apart in probably around 2019, back in John Prince Park had happened. We started with probably 256 people living in the park in tents and in the woods and whatnot, families, children, elders. There's 4 categories of homeless. It's your imminent risk of homelessness. Those are your people that are getting evicted. On the way to an eviction, there's preventative measures for evictions. You have Federal statutes, fleeing and attempting. Let's see, if you're fleeing domestic violence, that is now, as of this year, a reason to go into shelters. All right, so this is our definition of homelessness. It's a HUD definition, and I know everybody understands HUD, and HUD is the one who, what we think is homeless isn't what the definition defines. The definition defines everything but sleeping from house to house when we were younger, moving around, things like that. It defines as living or residing overnight into some places not inhabitable, right? That's where they get their money from. So HUD defines these definitions and tells you what you can and can't spend the money on, which we get into a little thing, and I know you guys have commissioners and whatnot and board members. It's semantics when it comes to any kind of policies and regulations. It's getting bigger, unfortunately. We're up to, just in the sheriff's office, just to be off PowerPoint for a minute, 3,136 calls to dispatch, to 911, just in 2024. That is up from a little over 2,000 3 years prior. So it's showing you everybody calls the sheriff's office first, which is quite all right. Hence the development, the sheriff out-of-the-box thinking and development of this team. 59% of all Americans, per Charles Schwab, are one paycheck, one catastrophic event from losing their houses, being homeless. That's a transmission. Mom can't go to work. Mom gets evicted, can't get her kids to school. The police get called. School has to go out. They get in trouble. It's just it's a downhill spiral. We see it every time. All right. So your literal homeless and the people you see out on the street, in the parks and everything else are what's called a chronic homeless, right? Chronic homeless are people that have been out there my entire career. These are probably your hardest persons to place or to rehabilitate. What I can say, and I'm pretty sure everybody in here has children. If you don't, good for you, don't have any. I have a 13-year-old. I love him. I hate him right now, but I love him. But this is what I refer with a lot of our chronic homeless. We refer to them as kind of like a child. They've lost their life skills. Life skills are brushing teeth. All the stuff you learned when you were 13. You can't get them to clean their room. You can't get them to sweep up or do their chores or take the dog for a walk. These are life skills that we're taught, which have diminished over the years of living in the streets, living in the woods, living out of cars. Then the mental health comes in. Fun fact, or not so fun fact, only 17%, they're up to about 21% of all of your homeless come to be homeless because of mental illness or addiction. They all came from one catastrophic event. The mental health and the addiction comes on afterwards. Usually the mental health and addiction, living in a car with your children, you feel like a failure, right? I let my kids down. The dad, I can't support anybody. I can't do anything. So therefore now the dad's mental health starts to diminish a little bit. Eventually, down the road without assistance, you come into the chronic homeless. And the chronic homeless, again, these are the people we see day in, day out. That was the face of homelessness for years. Unfortunately, it's not now. It's just growing. Like it says, it's a complex problem. It's something that we're not going to fix. But if we get in front of the train, maybe we can slow it down. And again, that's what the sheriff's office has done. The sheriff, again, awesome guy. Couldn't praise him enough. He got out in front of the train. Let's see. We have the new bill, I'm sure, is coming up here. Here's some more stats. 2017, less than 221 field interview reports. Then you come up to nowadays, and we're up into the 1,000 this year. And a field interview report is just me stepping out with you, getting a 911 call. I come out, I see you, I take your information down, blah, 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 write it up and just put it into the book. It's a non-criminal thing. It's just us gathering information. So our caseloads are starting to go up because of the homeless epidemic.
again, it's not their fault. They were us. That's the way you have to look at it. When you approach this and the people in the streets, and I've seen bus drivers, nurses. I have a neurosurgeon, kind of off topic, but to give you a little realization of what we have out there. I have a neurosurgeon who is homeless. Whoa, guy's got to be making $50 million a year, right, as a neurosurgeon. Who knows a neurosurgeon to go homeless? His wife died of cancer. He couldn't fix her, being a neurosurgeon. Couldn't fix her cancer. She died. He is now homeless because his mental health went down. Again, these people are us. They still are us. Strip away the addiction, strip away the mental health. They are us. So we attack the issue with that mentality. They were us. They were our accountants, our teachers. I have 2 nurses, one 17 years in St. Mary's, trauma nurse, 17 years. Her name's Millie, right? Her son was murdered. She is a chronic homeless right now with a major alcohol addiction. How do we fix that? That's a tough one. Very, very, very tough. Point in time count. Everybody has heard the point in time count? Point in time count just occurred, literally just occurred on the 30th and 31st of January. So this is called a snapshot. I don't call it a snapshot. I call it false. But they take 200 volunteers throughout the county, all your workers, poll workers, anybody who wants to come out and count the homeless. So everybody gets together, they all get their friends, they buddy up in the van provided by the county, and they go out there and they basically just count the homeless on the streets. And they write their names down and everything else. We had 2,136 last year. I'm sorry, 2,126 last year. The year prior, we were about 150 less. This year, we don't know. Actually, the number I want to say is going to be a little low because of this House bill that I'll discuss in just a minute. So they're hunkering down. They're getting deeper into the woods. They're staying in the abandoned houses and the abandoned cars because they don't want to be seen. They're afraid of the arrest. So the point in time count gets all over the United States. Everybody gets on the same page, does the same thing. And again, this is how we get our HUD funding, is by the point in time count, because everything has to do with stats and numbers. But as for everybody here, if I said there's 1.7 million people in Palm Beach County, which I think I'm kind of close. I think it's 1.6 and change. And I tell you there's only 2,126 people, you're going to go, okay, that's not too bad, right? Well, it's false. It's a false hope. Right now, just from what we've come up with, there's between 12 and 16,000 people in Palm Beach County. How do I get this number? There's, again, remember, their definition for homeless is not all of our definition of homeless. There's a thing called the McKinney-Vento Act, and for those of you who don't know, it's set up for kids not to be left behind and not to be left out of school, and basically homeless kids. That showed this year over 6,000 kids homeless. Now, I'm not a mathematician. I'm a cop. I barely made it out of high school, right? But 6,000, everyone has a mom or dad. So right off the bat, that's 12,000. Now, add a sibling in there. So the number keeps going up. So that 2,126, not real accurate, okay? So, and again, I saw some of the faces were like, well, yeah, that's what I see. And it gets difficult. But again, we're here with the chronic homeless too. These people will become chronic homeless without some kind of something. So as you see the number goes up, Palm Beach County throughout the years. Shelters. How many shelters do we have? We have 4 shelters. 2 of the shelters are close. 45th Street, which everybody's familiar with, I'm sure. 1045th Street holds right around 70 people. Only 70. Now remember, we're going back to that number of 2,126 people, and we have 70 beds there. The new HRC2, which is down there at Lake Worth Road and Gulfstream, has maybe another 70 beds. So there's 140 out of 2,126. You go out west to Belle Glade, or Pahokee, that's our only family shelter. They can only hold so many families because a family unit can be from 2 to 7 to maybe 10. So they just classify it on an amount of families, and it's right around 17 families. And then there's a singles shelter out in Belle Glade. So all in all, we might have enough room to put 300 people, right? And I understand it's a budgetary thing. It's a budgetary thing, and how do we do it? How do we combat it? Because all those budgets, all that money is coming from HUD. And for certain policies, you have to do it certain ways. So the new center, these guys are good. I will say Gulfstream Industries runs these guys, and they are good. They absolutely try their hardest. Each case manager has about 14 people that they case manage. That's doctors, driver's licenses, everything. Just think of what you do on a daily basis. That's what they do with 14 people. So the unsheltered count, interview, observed, and total, 1,580. So again, these numbers are very, very, very low. We keep them very low because we just want to reiterate that it's 12 to 14,000 people. Back to the count, 2,126. Again, this year will be a little less. So, you see it considerably goes up through the year. This year, you're going to get it's going to be under 2,000. I can almost guarantee. And we can't go ooh-ha away because back in 2020, there was 1,500 people. It has to do with that bill that had just come out that the governor had signed. So here we are. District 7 with a count of 782 people. That's Boca. So Boca has 782. Lake Park, here's your size difference between the places. 2023, 2024. So it's scattered. Here's the thing with homeless persons. They're transient. It's very, very difficult to keep track of somebody because they're going different places. I can tell you this, on Thursdays, the end of the month is when Social Security check comes out. Where do they go? They all go down to the Social Security office. You go down at any given time down to St. Anne's, which is 2701. You'll see 200 people because they go there, they get their check. So they're very transient. They know what they're doing. Again, talking with chronic homelessness, they have an area that they try to hover around because all of their food is there, their friends are there, their support groups. Might be a drinking party, but that is a support group for them because it's like-minded people that accept them. So they will hang amongst themselves. Just like if we all go out on a dinner date with some friends. We're around those people because they make us feel good. And when they make us feel good, we laugh and feel good about ourselves. So when you say it's the extreme of a drinking party, well, it's their equivalent. So again, you got to look at them as us. Law enforcement approaches a homeless person, and again, we're talking 200 volunteers that with the point-in-time count, one officer to every maybe 12, 15 volunteers. So it's a drastic difference. When a homeless person doesn't engage in any sort of criminal violation, offer advice about services and any other assistance that's available for them through the Homeless Services Program. So it's strictly voluntary. If I find somebody in the park downtown here, and it's a chronic homeless, and I approach them and I tell them, hey, I have A, B, C, and D. We have access to neurobehavioral health for psychological issues and dual diagnosis places, which is mental and addiction. It's mental and addiction, Mandela Health or Hanley Foundation, or there's several out there. And they also have what's called detox beds. So I'll ask that person, hey, do you want to go? Chances are they're going to say no. Why are they saying no? Because all their belongings are here. What's going to happen to those belongings? What's in those belongings? What's in those belongings is grandma's wedding ring from 1917. That's a family heirloom. They have, just because they're chronic homeless doesn't mean that they don't have family heirlooms. So that's why it's very difficult to get them to move to different places or bring them places because they're worried about their stuff. How do we do it with the homeless intervention team? Well, my partner and I, we drive around, we see a person standing on the street. We will make contact with that person, whether they like us or not. Just hand them a card. Hey, my name's Jim. I go by Mackie out there most of the time. I'm not a deputy. I wasn't born a deputy. I'm not going to die a deputy. I'm just a plain old Mackie, you know, and that's how I associate with people. So I tell them, hey, my name's Mackie. Oh, go away. Okay, I'll drive away. The next time I come by, I might have a pair of socks, maybe a roll of toilet paper. We all take rolls of toilet paper for granted. We're not on Naked and Afraid, okay? None of us. These guys, toilet paper means a lot. Now, here's the thing with toilet paper, a little side note. Everybody's been in a park bathroom, right? You see that big metal canister, and you're like, I know there's another roll there, but this one's empty, right? Well, they break that open. Why do they break that open? Because they want that toilet paper. Parks and Rec said by the time they're done with it, it's about $700 to $800 to replace that thing, or a 62-cent roll of toilet paper, right? So we'll hand them a roll of toilet paper. We don't ask them if they want assistance, because remember, we have, I don't want to say so much mental illness and beat up on the mental illness or the addiction, but I do want to beat up on how many people have out there and said, hey, I want to help you, and have never returned. That's what you're fighting. That's more than the mental illness, is the trust. Building the trust is one of the main things. That's why, hey, I'll pat ourselves on the back. We're very successful. Last year, we helped over 300 people, and they're no longer in this county. 300 people, 2 deputies. But it's just that, again, the sheriff gives us carte blanche. Go do it. Go do it. Mangonia Park, we lowered the crime 32%. That's not a little number. That's a big number. An alcoholic walks by a car. The girl leaves their purse. Alcoholic says, you know, I'm starting to get jitters. I'm starting to go through withdrawal. Alcohol withdrawal is one of the worst things I've ever seen. It really is. I've never experienced it. I can't say I know what you're feeling, but I've seen what it does. So this guy, instead of going through withdrawal, breaks a window, right? Breaks a window, steals your stuff. Steals your stuff for a 99-cent naughty ice. It's the cheapest out there. Why do they drink so much? It's legal. I'm 21. I can drink. You can't do anything to me. So that's hence a lot of the alcohol. A couple of deputies show up. Well, a couple of deputies show up. I don't know how much we actually pay, but I want to say it's right around $250 an hour. That includes everything. So total it all up. You're totaling the judge, the jury, because this is a felony, right? They're sitting in jail for 30 days, all for a 99-cent beer. You're talking over $34,000 it costs for one broken window for a 99-cent beer. And it's the process. It's what happens. But sometimes making that relationship, we don't have to spend that money because it takes time. Everybody wants the homeless gone. I need them out of here. It doesn't work like that, because we're going to push them out of here. They're going to go to Mangonia. They're going to go to Jupiter. They're going to go to Gardens. They're going to go to North Palm. Rather than simply taking the time, taking the steps that we have, and gaining a little bit of trust and giving them the assistance. The other thing, after we give them whatever we can, we hand them a pair of socks. They say, hey, can you get me this? Boom, they just open the door up, right? Because they asked for help. I'm not going to walk up to you and say, hey, do you need help? Because I'm insinuating you have a problem, right? So right off the bat, there's standoff. I don't have a problem. You have a problem? Why are you here? Leave me alone. No, we don't ask them for help. We allow them to ask us for help. And now we turn it around. The floodgates are open, very receptive. Did you know 76% of your homeless in this county were born and raised in this county? 76%. That's a lot. So guess what? They have families here. They have prior pasts here. They have the point in time count. I took a teacher out with me. She met one of her students from John I. Leonard. And she's like, I just can't believe this. So it's true. And with that knowledge, that's what helps us. Again, the families, the friends, the doctors. Who was their original doctor? Each one of these people sat on their grandmother's knee at 4 years old, opening up their favorite present, just like all we did, right? So again, they are us. They are us. So let's figure out how we're going to help them become us again. Then again, we might be wrong and they got the good idea. I don't know. So, person holding a sign indicates that they're homeless. Request assistance. This need not be a violation of the county ordinance or the state law. The courts have held this is an expression of free speech. Does everybody remember a couple of years ago in Lake Worth? 2 homeless guys took the town of Lake Worth, the Lake Worth Beach, for $74,000 because of the panhandling law. So they paid out $74,000. The ACLU and the coalitions, they're ready to jump on stuff. That's why we go with the kick gloves, and we love doing what we do. So here's a big thing I would encourage all of you to look up. This is a landmark case. This is Pottinger. Pottinger was brought about in 1988. The reason it was came in, and the guy's name's Pottinger, is the lawyer who did the lawsuits. So he sued the city of Miami because city of Miami had homeless everywhere in this park. I'm talking their stuff was everywhere. So the cops went in there. They were ordered, go in there, clean their stuff up. They're bringing truckloads and trash and everybody else. They're throwing everything else. Again, what's in those things? Grandma's ring, their birth certificate, their ID, whatever money they have, their prescriptions, stuff like that. So turned out to be a big, huge violation, and they came up with this, which is the Pottinger Agreement. That just jumped right up Florida. And that's what makes us, where is the, there it is. Being in a public park after closing hours. That's called a life-sustaining misdemeanor, right? And that is because of this Pottinger law. Life-sustaining misdemeanors. Some of them are ridiculous, like starting a fire. It's Florida. It's not that cold. Well, except for a couple weeks ago. Camping in a public park, so long as a tent is not used. It's a safe space. That's why Pottinger and the Miami came to agreement that if you were homeless, you could stay in a safe place. And I understand, we can get into why we approach it the way we do, because we get consent. We don't force compliance. Forced compliance doesn't work for anybody. It doesn't work for my 13-year-old, I can tell you that. Loitering in a restroom, public restroom, that's where they go. They stay cool. Living in a vehicle. Living in a vehicle, not so much anymore, because there's a lot of people living in Targets, Walmarts, church parking lots, marinas. Anything that's open 24 hours, they pretty much just sneak in there and they live. Partially blocking sidewalks, leaving enough room so that others need to step out. So that is one of the things that has changed. They can no longer do that. That was a John Prince Park thing. All right, littering within 300 feet of usable trash can. You throw stuff out, we can get them. Fully blocking the sidewalks. These are ways that we can enforce the law. I'm a police officer. Been one for 28 years. I will enforce the law. That is how I keep people safe, my family, my friends, and all of the citizens that I encounter. I will arrest if necessary, but I will think twice of how I'm going to handle a situation, because not all situations need arrests. Some just need a final answer, a follow-through. 3 things that were not good in Palm Beach County, and I tell everybody this. Communication, collaboration, and consistency. So that's the 3 C's. And when we teach this class, we actually teach a 40-hour class. The Sheriff's Office developed one where we teach cops from, I have Okeechobee County coming to the next course. But we teach those 3 C's, and we demand that they do those 3 C's, because collaboration amongst towns and facilities and services. All right, shelter does not have to be often in lieu of arrest for violations, and no warning is required. You can take a person to the shelter, right? If there's a shelter bed available and I go up to the park and I see a guy and I say, hey, you want a shelter? They say no. I call up, hey, Lewis Center, you got a shelter bed available? Yes, I do. Sir, do you want to go to the shelter? There's a shelter bed available. Well, now it's not a life-sustaining misdemeanor anymore because now they are legitimately refusing services. So therefore, it is an arrestable offense, ordinance, or whatever it may be. There it is, building a fire in a public park. The committing lewd acts is using the restroom in public. A lot of that is urinating in public, things like that. They have found that they can't leave their stuff to go find a place to legally use the bathroom because they don't want to leave their stuff or get it stolen. Average cost litigation. Yeah, it's big, $1.5 million. Did you know that each homeless person on the street right now costs about $26,000 to $32,000 a year for each person? Just use that number, the 2,126. It's a lot of money. Here are some of our Palm Beach County ordinances. Consumption and possession of an alcoholic beverage, usually in public parks or in front of stores. Each city has their own ordinances also, whereas Lake Worth Beach, you have Jupiter has their own, but within the Palm Beach County parks, we use a lot of these. The littering on the property, panhandling prohibited, unlawful trespass or lodge on open public lands. We went over the Lewis Center, the referrals. So homeless referrals, we have the ability, we have 8 beds, 8 PBSO beds. This is something I fought long and hard for. I wanted a place where I could be in at least 8 people to sleep overnight. But after that 8, I have nothing. And that's only for 24 to 48 hours. Why is it only for 24 to 48 hours? Because there is a list that is 600 long just for the shelter, 600 people deep. So if I take a person and I place them into the shelter, well, technically that's cutting the line. So that's why they allow them to stay there for 24 to 48 hours. But after 48 hours, where are they going? Right back to where they were, where they know their food is, where they know their friends are, where they know they can get their beer. Here we go, the big one, House Bill 1365. This is where we hear you're criminalizing homelessness. There is not a Florida statute assigned to this House bill. Deep in the House bill, you will see there is a Florida state statute, but is to define camping, right? So they looked at it. This thing's like 17 pages long. I don't know if anybody's read it, the full 17 pages, and I get it. And it mostly lodging in the open. Lodging in the open is an ordinance we've had for a lot of years, and we've used for specific cases for the worst of the worst. So if we go up and we know that person's dealing drugs or something to that effect, but they're laying out on the picnic table, well, we're going to use that to get some kind of consent to engage on. That's called lodging in the open, and it's just an ordinance. PBSO in the past 3 years has made 32 arrests for lodging in the open. 32. So it's not like something we go out of our way to do. House Bill 1365 says that, it basically says that each city, each town is responsible for their own homeless shelter or taking care of their own homeless problem. Being the fact that the county can get sued. And I'm sure everybody's abreast of this because I recognize some faces the last time down at the Civic Center that we discussed this too. So it is not a law. It's not an enforceable act because this is just a guideline. Will it be a law? Probably. Somehow, some way, they will make it a law. I heard some towns saying they're going to make sleeping outside in the open during a day a ordinance. Well, if I go to the beach and I catnap while my kid's playing around, is that illegal? So we got to be very, very, very careful because that's a can of worms. So the homeless shelter require occupants not to use drugs. That is a big thing. Our homeless shelters right now, again, because we're HUD founded, or HUD funded, says it has to be low barrier. Low barrier means I can go shoot up outside, walk into the shelter, and not have violated any rules, right? There's no reason they can kick me out, which that's okay because that's their policy. What this is saying is we would create a new shelter. It's not a legal binding. You don't have to, but it's recommended. DCF would come and inspect the place. Let's just say City Hall. They come in, they say this place is great. Okay, you can fit 110 people here on the floors. You put 110 people. Now you can enact your own rules. P-tests, no drugs, no drinking, no specific people, even the way you wanted to dress. So you could make the rules you want, but it's all there to effectively help that person. I don't believe Palm Beach County is wanting to build any kind of shelter like that. I remember Ms. Sachs, Commissioner Sachs was up there, and she said, I don't want to build a concentration camp. I know they took that all out of text, but she meant a chain link fence holding in 300 people. I get it, because I've spoken to her. They all have great ideas, and that's what it's going to take, a lot of great ideas. What does the bill allow? It allows the county to designate property, City Hall, to be a shelter. And I'm just saying, for instance, this isn't what it is. I'm getting a dirty look. No, I'm just kidding. It's City Hall we would say the parking lot or maybe a park. We would designate that as a shelter. DCF would come and look at it, but it would have to have bathrooms. It would have to have lighting. It would have to have security. So there's a lot that goes into it. So I would definitely, for the public and everybody, all administrators, to be abreast with this, that it is 17 pages, and I'm sure everyone on this panel has, because this is a big thing. With the outcome we've had and the outcome we teach, and I can't brag about the Sheriff's Office enough, with the new 40-hour course, we actually take the officers, we take social workers, we take therapists, and we take them into a 40-hour course. And I offered it to the captain back there, and but we sit there and we go over all these stats, and we show how much money is involved, and we get people the realization that they were us. Then we go out, we do outreach, we bring in psychology, we bring in resources. There's a lot of resources in these cities and in these counties. There's resources. Everybody thinks resource is food and clothing. Thank God I got that coming out my ears. The office is overflowing with food and clothing. But other resources are taxes. I'm an accountant. Let me do 2 free taxes for somebody. Because I'm afraid of the feds more than I am the sheriff's office. I don't know. If you're all on the same note. The taxes, right? Death and taxes. But the homeless are too. They haven't filed taxes in 5 years. Maybe that's what's holding them from getting a driver's license or this or that. So we think out of the box. We find somebody that'll pro bono this. We take that person, we establish the rapport. We find out that anchor to reality, that time on grandma's lap. We find out who they were, what they were. Now we find out who they want to become. Everybody has a goal, even a homeless person, right? So we go and we find out what their goal was. And we try to just put them on track back to it. It might take a little bit, but we are legitimately removing people from the streets. We have a thing what's called, it's called Traveler's Assistance. It's called The Way Home in West Palm. And we can purchase, once I find somebody, and I just literally just had a cop who had lost his job due to alcoholism from New Jersey. He was flagging a sign on Belvedere and Military Trail. Like I said, this is everybody. He couldn't get back. I was able to buy him a bus ticket, and I got a hold of his rehab up north. We made some conversation. The same thing with some families. We found a lot of families. Mom doesn't know where their kids are. I haven't talked to her in years. I thought she was dead. A lot of your elders, some of your people out here are in their 80s. My dad wouldn't ask for my help. He'll put a whooping on me, but he would never ask for my help because he's 80 years old. He raised me. I'm not going to ask for help. But that's the mentality of the 80-year-olds, the 70-year-olds, the 90-year-olds. Bless you. So we look at that and we build it as a puzzle. It's just going to take time and support, but it can be done. Can we do, and I know the big question is, what can we do about the homeless living in the park? Well, unfortunately, during the daytime, nothing. Nothing, other than ordinance violations. You got to keep a watchful eye on them. Very, very difficult. Because if we're going to do something about that, just think all the people that are in Target parking lot, the moms and dads and kids. Again, they were us, and that's the way we attack the problem, is they were us. Does anybody have any questions? I know I ramble. I do love what I do, so I'll help in any way possible. Sir.
We appreciate your presentation, and it's very insightful and also informative. So I'm going to open the floor to my council members for any questions. Commissioner Taylor.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Yes. What about medical treatment? I kind of befriended a homeless woman in town here, and she has like an obvious problem that would maybe, she said she wanted employment, but what about medical treatment if she had some kind of a condition that was obvious that may, even be in the way of her gaining employment? What would that, where would she get help for that?
So we have a thing, it's called Career Source. It's here in Palm Beach County, and it is a program put on. It is very underutilized, and somebody to that effect would be great for, let's just say, Seagull Industries. It's where they do launder all the towels and sheets and things from local hotels and different facilities. They put the persons there that might have a mental illness or autism or something to that effect. It gives them a job. It gives them productivity. With somebody like you're speaking about, the first thing I would do is find out if they have Medicaid, Medicare, and their age. So if they have Medicaid, Medicare, we can get them food stamps so they can get, let's just say, $900, or it's usually like $136 per person. If she's on Medicaid, Medicare, or she has disability, that is $914 for Social Security. So if she's got that, we could use the Medicare to maybe get her a assisted living facility. So there are options for persons like that.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, she seems pretty savvy as far as the different shelters and things. She's been to the one, the newer one, the Lord's Place, and they said, well, you're looking for housing. She says, I'm looking for a job before I get a housing. It doesn't make sense. You see what I'm saying? She doesn't make sense, and she's difficult to assist because, like you said, I tried to give her something, and she said, no, I have that. She has food, and she has her grocery cart and everything filled with her things. It's exactly what you're saying about. But and she seemed like a very nice, intelligent person, too, but it's a shame.
And as far as the go get a job, well, here's the thing. The unfortunate truth is they smell, their hair's long, their teeth look terrible, so they're not going to be able to keep that job. That's why the housing first model they really go with. Let's put them in a house, get them structured, everything else. Day facilities and feedings, I know, are another thing that a lot of people find difficult to stomach. The thing with the feedings, and this is the part that I like, is when we find a feeding with 100 people, 70 people, 40 people, we bring services there. We'll actually set up a table, and I'll get a little boisterous and say, you're not eating until you give me your name and you tell me what goals you have, because that allows us to interact with the persons. So at any feeding, you'll find me down in Lake Worth, down at Bryant Park. There's always like 70 people down there. But it allows them how do I put it politically correct? It's like herding cats. It really is. If you get them all in one place, you can help them easier than running around from spot to spot to spot to look for them. So I'm a big proponent of as long as it's legal and the permits abiding, of the feeding, because you can eliminate the problem quicker because everybody's in one spot. But as far as your young lady, you're more than welcome to give me a call, Because if I give you 5 homeless persons, you're going to have 5 different paths that they have to follow. Not one person has the same upbringing. No one on this panel had the same kind of mom and dad or the same kind of jobs all their career. You have different paths. So you have to figure out that path. Sorry.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I do want to say thank you for coming and giving us the information. I think the McKenzie-Vento is the highest that we saw in the school district now. So just knowing that there's a lot of students out there that's homeless, like you said, the parents, and there's a why because they fall on hard times. Are there some kind of resource to help besides what the school offer to help the students, like the kids of the homeless?
There is. So the kids with the McKinney-Vento Act can eat 3 times a day. Not a lot of people know. So they can take food home. They are able to take food home. They just got to allow the people to know it. Can they get their clothing washed? Yes. Each individual school has a washer and dryer. And they can secretly asking the therapist or whoever's there or whatever principal, and hey, can you wash my daughter's clothes? Because kids get bullied for smelling, for looking like that. Haircuts, call me. If you ever need a kid, I got barbers set up all over. That'll help out. A haircut, everybody feels good, right? When you get your haircut. But there is further resources for kids afterwards. There's aftercare. There's DCF has a whole program now, too, that they can put the children in aftercare so the parents can work until 5 o'clock and so on. But yes, there is.
Commissioner Thomas?
Actually, I was going to inquire regarding that in regards to the McKinney-Vento. And I just wanted to make sure that I heard you correctly. You said there's about 6,000?
It was over 6,000.
Okay. And then I wanted to know, how is this being counted? Are you relying on the administration at schools to count these children that they're, because I know there's a survey that the school district does every year to determine, if there are children who are housed or unhoused. So this number is actually coming from
Yes, ma'am.
School districts.
That is exactly. Each school has its own way, and sometimes the kids, they'll look into their situation and find out they are homeless and check that box. So a lot of it has to do with they ask the parents, hey, where are you living? With McKinney-Vento, you can couch surf. So they're staying at the grandmother's house or the auntie's house or whatever, but it's not consistent living. So with children, homelessness falls under non-consistent home, someplace to call your own. So they're a little laxed on that, and they should be, because this is our future. But yes, it was 6,100 and something. It was just over 6,000, which has grown almost 500-600 from last year.
Okay, and then I would like to inquire too, for those individuals who are chronically homeless, are there any other facilities besides what's here where someone who is homeless could have a day shower and not be placed on a list? Hey, I want to go take a shower for today. I don't necessarily want to go into a shelter, but I just need to be, cleaned.
Good question. Great question. So there's very limited few. St. Anne's, the Lord's Place allows it, but they have shower trucks. There's a few shower trucks running around. Delray has one. And they bring a shower and a washing machine vehicle, a trailer. They bring it to a specific park, and people gather. They do their laundry and take showers so that they can go to work. And that's an excellent question because that allows them to sleep outside but freshen up to go continue their job.
Is there a scheduled date, for these? Based on the facility? I know you stated that there are 4 facilities that are out there. So are they going to the facility, or are they at a particular location where they can have these shower trucks?
The Palm Beach County shelters, no. They do not have day facilities. Okay. As of yet. I haven't cried loud enough. It's coming. Mm-hmm. But it's an excellent question, and that's an excellent idea. The shower trucks, those are the ones I do rely on for Delray Beach and the Lord's Place and St. Anne's. that's really all we have. And some of the churches running around, they'll help out too, the ones that are just.
So these are like nonprofit organizations that are providing the
Your
shelter?
nonprofits absolutely provide a lot more than your county facilities, but that's contractual. So I really don't, and it has to do with population and food and liability and things like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, thank you again for answering all our questions.
Thank
And thank you for mentioning the facilities. I actually work across from St. Anne, so I'm very familiar with the type of volume they get, and they do get quite a volume, so
But please, anything you guys need, please don't hesitate.
thank you. All right, with that, I have nothing on the quasi-judicial public hearing, nothing under ordinance on first reading, nor ordinance on second reading, and nothing under old business. Under new business, we moved items 11 and 12 to consent, and have already voted for that, so I will move on to town attorney comments.
No comments.
No comments from my left hand. Moving to my right hand, town manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple quick things. We've been requested from the Palm Health Foundation to approve a proclamation, Let's Move Palm Beach County Month, and it provides residents or requests or promotes residents to take control of their physical activity and mental health. So what we were hoping to do is bring that in your next meeting. Just because, again, I'm new, would it be better, would we like to continue this process or just bring these so that we can go, put them on the agenda and move forward with it? Or would you like me to bring them back to you first, or?
Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Because we get so many requests, we've always asked, is there some kind of relationship to the town? Is someone
Correct.
in like a resident of the town involved in that organization? Because otherwise we'd just be packed with proclamations.
Yeah, I would say we could continue the way we're doing it, where you bring it to our attention and we provide consent.
Sounds good. Today, staff met with Mr. Aram, just to keep you in the loop. During that meeting, we expressed the concerns that the town has and the CRA has with the lack of progress that's made on the building there at 754. He indicated, of course, he has submitted his plans. He has indicated that he is absolutely committed to moving forward and will be here, or will be at the CRA meeting, the first meeting in March. So he's committed to being there.
Okay.
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 It was very productive.
It's more of a thumbs up kind of thing. Nothing.
I think it was a very productive meeting. So.
I apologize to interrupt, Allison Justice, CRA Administrator. I got a text from him on the way here that he is out of town on the 5th, but we'll have him here the 19th. I said, I will find a date that you will be here, so we just wanted to let you know that.
Yeah,
he will be here.
and again, my reasoning for looking is more of a
I
thumbs
know.
up.
Yes.
Thumbs up, nothing more.
Also, if I could have Public Works Director come up real quick. I just wanted to give you a quick update on the southern outfall. We've had a number of comments with regard to it, so I just wanted to make sure that the Public Works Director could give you an update on where we're going and what's happening tomorrow.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jamie Morales, Public Works. So briefly, we spoke with Ms. Kelly, and we've been in conversation with Mr. Donald related to their concerns on the 301. First is the noise, the smell of diesel, and the vibration on the building. We've gotten a couple of concerns about the vibration. So tomorrow morning, we're with the engineer of record on site to do an inspections, and we're also going to reach out to another engineering firm to get a structural engineer to come to the site to probably install a health monitoring system, which is a vibration system, to see if we could track and see what's going on with the structure and if there's any maybe damage or integrity to their structure. So those are the steps that we're following. We're being very proactive with the contractor and with the firm, the engineering firm, just to see how can we solve or mitigate the situation as best possible.
Okay. Thank you for that.
And I do want to say thank you to Mr. Morales and Mr. Willie for just constantly being available, getting back with the citizens immediately. And it's just, I think that that's really helped to make sure that this project continues moving and questions are answered. So thank you.
6 more weeks.
We do appreciate you for that. That turnover from our, sending you these informations, these inquiries, is pretty good.
My
Thank you
pleasure.
very much.
No problem.
Just real quickly again, wanted to talk about our upcoming budget. We will have a schedule that will be prepared. We will be developing a new capital improvement plan, a 5-year plan, so we can start identifying long-term capital projects and equipment purchases, identifying how those projects will be funded as well. That'll be part of our budget process early on. And then we're hopeful to have a workshop sometime right before you guys go to the League of Cities conference. And then we'll be prepared to continue moving the town forward through the budget process. So appreciate our interim director, Ms. Gould, and helping to put that together. Also, we have a free tax aid that's available at the public library from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Every Saturday except Saturday, February 15th until tax day. And they will help with free service that's provided by volunteers through AARP. For the community's benefit, Lake Park offices will be closed on Monday, February 17th in honor of President's Day. Sanitation schedule for that day, there will be no residential collection. With regards to special events, we have our Sunset Celebration on February 28th at 6 p.m. Down at Kelsey Park, which, by the way, my first one was last Friday, and it's an incredible event. Rianiti does a fantastic, and her staff does a fantastic job. Public Works, really, really great job. So I appreciated the opportunity to be there, and really, really encourage the community to be there. And this will be in honor of our Black History Month. And again, it'll be February 28th. And that's what I have.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Commissioner comments. I'll start to my right. Commissioner Hensley?
Yeah, I just want to thank staff, Jamie and town manager for taking care of those issues that we had this week. And if we could get an update on stop lights, school lights in Lake Park Elementary. But thank you for your help. That's the only comments I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes, town manager, I know that our MLK celebration was postponed because of inclement weather. So the artists, and I imagine whatever activity that was planned, what are we going to do? Is this regarding the Sunset Celebration? I believe they were the same performers that were, so we never did talk about what was going to happen. So it has been a conversation that has come back from a resident.
Yes.
Rianiti Frank, Special Events Director. So it will not be the same band, because the band that was already scheduled for February is a different band, but we are bringing all of the activities. So the mobile mural art that we were supposed to do for that event, the coloring books and crayons that we plan to give out, the bounce houses, all of those things will be at the February event. Yes,
Thanks for sharing the bounce.
Sorry.
You got somebody excited.
Yeah. I'll have my camera ready.
And the challenge.
Is this the bounce house, or is this the corn, or this is the corn maze?
No, not the corn maze. It is one bounce house for toddlers, and then the other one is the obstacle course.
We are having the obstacle one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not even going to look to my left at this point. Because I know the
Yes.
Yeah, I know what's happening right now.
Okay. But I know you like the corn maze, so we can definitely get that at a
Well,
future
I mean,
event.
I think it's an obstacle course too, that corn maze.
It kind of is.
Yeah, it is.
You know what? We have a newer councilman that has never experienced that.
The corn maze?
That would be a good competition. to have the champ go up against the rookie.
Okay. And the only reason why I'm saying that, because there have been numerous conversations in regards to the community, of that event being postponed and how we were going to address that event. I believe I also directed that individual to contact you as well. And so,
I believe you're talking of Ms. Taylor?
yeah.
Yes, I spoke to her. Yes.
Yeah, so, so that we address that?
Yes.
Okay. And I just want to be on record to say that I brought that to your attention. Were you needy?
Yes, you did, and I spoke with her.
Okay. Franks, Mrs. Franks?
Mrs.
Yes.
Franks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
Commissioner?
Yes, ma'am, Commissioner. Commissioner Taylor.
Thank you, everybody, and for setting up the next sunset celebration. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much. That's all.
Okay.
I want to be in the competition. I want to know the rules.
Oh, there are no rules.
Is it going to be time?
You notice how excited she was when she made that statement, right?
I thought maybe it timed this to see how long it took us to get out or something. But it's the first one out, first one through?
Yeah.
Is that it?
If they can make it through.
True that.
Okay.
The last year's competition, one of us did, and one of us
all right.
was a comic relief.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. Vice Mayor.
The only thing I had was answered. I was going to ask about the budget calendar because I know we're all setting our summer schedules. So Rich indicated that'd be coming out shortly.
Okay. Did you have something you wanted to add, Town Manager? Okay.
You don't want this?
You might be able to get that fish
I mean,
sandwich.
if you,
In 2 more minutes, you might be able to get that fish sandwich, Tom. It's before 8.
This is a record. For me, it is.
Yeah.
okay.
It's a sidebar.
Town Manager. Or Jamie?
Yeah, no, because
Make sure you're on the mic.
good afternoon again, Jamie Morales, and I just wanted your guidance is that we had sent an email, and I know that there was a prior commitment on the 20th of February to meet with the state on the Southern Outfall Project.
Correct.
We reached out to them, but they have that day locked because they're going to visit additional projects, and we were just proposing to see if we can meet with them, and then we could schedule a 17 with the county and the commission and the town manager, and then we can meet in this project. 2 different meetings, but at least we accomplished the objective that is the state could come and see the project because they don't have any,
That may
any
work out
additional.
because by the time you get to us, you'll be able to provide us a lot more detail at that time.
Okay.
And I can have Janet, reach out to you all to, check your schedules and, see if you're available to do that.
Yeah. Are there any objections to that? Any objections? I don't think you're going to
No.
have one, so
Okay, thank you.
We're good.
Thank you, appreciate it.
thank you. Anything else? Okay. I mean, I really have nothing. Looking forward to the Safe Streets Summit starting tomorrow as well as the next day, and that's about all I have right now. Huh? Oh, as well as Friday, I will be hosting a spelling bee at the town library. Well, actually, it's actually going to be here in Town Hall, upstairs in the Mirror Ballroom. We have 12 young minds that will be participating in a spelling bee hosted by the Friends of the Lake Park Public Library as well as the library itself. And it's going from 2 to 5, I believe? 2:45 to 5. And I will be the host, and it will be fun. So if you have time on your schedule between those times, please come up. It should be enjoyable, and it won't be the first. Definitely won't be. It's the first, but definitely won't be the last. So looking forward to that.
That's the 8th? That's Friday? you
That's
said?
this Friday.
Friday the 7th.
Yep, this Friday. All right. With that, that's all I have. I will entertain a motion of adjournment. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody.